It's showtime.
Hello and welcome to Musical Lyrical Lingo. We're your hosts, Tim
and LJ. Today and every week we will be discussing musicals, but specifically what they taught us.
Honest to goodness, you would think 2 seasons in, I could do the blooming intro. I haven't mucked it up in so long.
No, I know.
I feel so disappointed in myself.
You're so tired.
I am so tired. Yeah, that's not good. I'm so I thought I was over that hurdle. Do you remember the faff we had in the early days?
I just have to hold it up. No,
I literally I couldn't have done it without the script, like in the early days. And then I totally got over myself, and then had a wee miracle lingo going on there.
Maybe whenever
miracle.
I don't know what came out there.
It certainly wasn't what was supposed to happen anyway.
Maybe whenever we're like doing season 3 and a wee bit of a rebranding, maybe we'll just have that all pre-recorded.
Did you say season 3 rebranding? That's exciting. We haven't discussed this. This is news to me. I'm excited.
It's not news to you.
I'm
I was going to say. No, you were definitely in the room when that happened.
In the room where it happened. No, people are going to think we're doing Hamilton this week. We're not.
No.
We still haven't touched that bad boy.
No.
I was thinking about that. You know, when we eventually do Hamilton, which the fans are crying out for, we're going to probably have to do 2 or 3 episodes on it.
Yeah, it's the same with a couple of those big ones. Like whenever we eventually do Les Mis, it's not going to be a 1 episode.
Oh, listen, I can't. I have too much Les Mis in my life.
Exactly. That's why we're not doing that anytime soon. But I mean, like, that's going to be...
Although I have met Cameron McIntosh now
in
the person. Have I mentioned that in the pod?
No.
I met Cameron McIntosh.
Hi, amazing.
He came into our rehearsals. He was really very nice. The man clearly never stopped. So he arrived at 7:15, had to leave for 7:45 because he was starting a dress rehearsal at 8:00. And I'm like, you must never stop. What a gentleman, though. Anyway, we're not here to talk about Cameron McIntosh or Les Mis. We are here to talk about a very exciting musical.
I know, in your wee face. It's so cute. And actually, I wish we were recording because you just like lit up.
It amazes me we're doing it.
Why?
Because, like, it's not, like, let's be honest. When do you ever hear about it? When do you ever see anything from it? When's it been done? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
so this might be very obscure for our listeners.
Completely obscure.
But for you,
do me a favor. Like, after this episode, if you haven't heard of this musical before, do yourself a favor and go and listen to the cast recording. Because I still remember when I first listened to it and I was like, what is going on? Like, what is this? I immediately was hooked.
Yeah.
I was visualizing how I would do it or how I would set it if I was involved in it. And I've literally, all of the directors I've worked with over the last number of years, it is the one show I've always said to them, would you never do such and such? Would you never do such and such? Because I would love to do it.
You would love to be involved in the creative process.
Absolutely. 1,000. No, I wouldn't want to be in it. I would love to stage it. Like, I would love to help stage it. I just think it's a really exciting show. I am really interested in doing this episode because I want to know more, because I think whenever you were obsessed with it or first introduced to it, we were like still pretty youngish, but I don't think I ever really asked you the questions as to why. So I think I'm really intrigued as to why you love this so much, like how you were first introduced to it. So I'm looking forward to this episode to find out more. I hope I can answer all those questions. I'm sure you will be able to. We are talking about The Wild Party, which is wild. Which is wild, yeah. It's obviously a musical with book, lyrics and music by Andrew Lippa. Yes. Who we know of because of The Addams Family and Big Fish. Yes. I'm going to put it out there now. And Charlie Brown. he did a few songs. He wrote a few extra songs for Good Man Charlie Brown, because he wrote one of my favourite songs in that, My New Philosophy.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
That Kristen Chenoweth is famous for doing. Mm-hmm. Yeah. He, in my opinion, is one of musical theatre's most underrated composers.
You love him.
I just think his work's amazing. Mm-hmm. And I would love him to do more. Like, I want him to, like, do more musicals, like, write more things. Like, because there's, like, the music in The Wild Party is amazing. Like, it's one of the show's strengths, I think.
Yeah.
Well, probably the only one, because I haven't actually seen it on stage, so I can't give you any more strengths about it. But I just think it's brilliant. It's based on Joseph Moncure March's, what a name, 1928 narrative poem of the same name.
Yep.
And this blew my mind and then answered so many questions and so many confusions I had.
Okay.
Right. So when I obviously was researching this episode, I discovered it coincidentally made its debut off-Broadway during the same theatrical season as a Broadway production of the same name and source material.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, where was the bloody planning there?
Okay, so I have watched some documentaries on this.
Of course you have, and you haven't noted a documentary on the pod for a couple of weeks, so I'm looking forward to this.
I think that this is we need to make it clear. I always knew that it was the Andrew Lippa one that we were going to be looking at, but there are two versions.
And I then also did panic when doing my notes for this. I was like, I hope Laura knows it's the Andrew Lippa version we're doing, because the other version, Chusia. You've researched how to say that, haven't you? Yeah. So the Broadway production of the same time was La Chusia's musical of The Wild Party. And they're very different.
Yeah. So I knew that it was Andrew Lippa one because I recognised the album cover.
Yeah.
So obviously the playbills, the album covers are very different. But yeah, so Andrew Lippa's one started. So he started to adapt it in 1996. And originally he wanted it to be like Cats, where he just took the source material and then put music around it. Okay. So a bit like how Cats or Andrew Lloyd Webber did with T.S. Eliot.
Yeah.
But once he, started to develop, he realized that a lot of it is in third person, and he wanted to use the words like I am and I feel. So he soon wasn't able to do that. So he started it in 1996, but Michael John Lechusa, I can't remember now, but I think it's Lechusa, began writing it in 1997. Okay. So Andrew technically came to it first, but it was both 97 that the musicals were the concepts kind of came up. In 97, Andrew Lippa had held a workshop, and Kristen Chenoweth was part of that.
Yeah, okay.
But that was her last involvement in it. So they're both working on this independently. It is... Have you read the poem? Like, from the fact that you like it?
No.
So I've read a little bit of it, but this is what I don't understand about poetry is... You're always thought that poetry is just like 5 or 6 lines or like one page at most, but like poetry can be a book.
Yeah.
So it's thick. Like it's not just it's almost like a story just told in poetry.
Yeah.
But they both then were working on this Wild Party, and they were both going to be off Broadway, and it was going to happen that they would both be off Broadway and then happened to be eligible for the Tonys at the same time.
Yeah.
But Lippa ended up having the same producers as Rent. The other guy ended up having the same producers as people who produced Rent, who then were able to transfer it off Broadway to on Broadway.
Yeah.
And the people involved in on Broadway were Mandy Patkin.
Yeah.
Eartha Kitt.
Yeah.
From Emperor's New Groove and loads of other things. And Toni Collette then had to step in because I've forgotten her name. I think it was, she fell ill. So anyway, or she was pregnant. So she ended up stepping in. But off Broadway with Andrew Lippa was the lovely Idina Menzel, Taye Diggs, and Brian Darcy James.
Yeah, exactly.
So big names that we know and understand for being involved in these productions.
Yeah.
Off and on, literally 7-minute walk away.
I just don't understand how they ever thought either would be successful when there was the same.
They both
I know they're
said that
different
it was unfortunate.
shows, but like, you know, you're not going to go and see one Wild Party and then go and see the other one.
But this is what's happening with Gatsby at the minute. So that's why this documentary came up.
Oh, why? What's happening with Gatsby?
We've got The Great Gatsby and we've got Gatsby. We've got two
really?
at the same time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Two musicals.
So they were like, the last time this happened was the Wild Party, and I was like, what? I'm researching the Wild Party.
We, honest to goodness, like we don't know.
So
we're
strange.
special, like.
Yeah, so strange.
We have powers. Yeah, I just can't get my head around why any producer didn't go, do you know what it is? Let's pull the plug on this right now and do it at another time.
Yeah.
To monopolise on it a wee bit more.
I do know. Yeah, it is, I suppose, because they were very different. So Lippa's did open first.
Yeah, so it opened off Broadway in 2000 in the Manhattan Theatre Club and ran for 54 performances.
I know. So his is slightly different because the poem is used, but it's mainly Lippa's style, which some say is similar to to cabaret. And then it didn't transfer to Broadway due to the critics, even though the audiences loved it. Yeah,
well, I mean, from listening to the two versions, like, oh my goodness, there's no comparison. They're night and day, and they're like chalk and cheese. Like, I much prefer Lippa's.
Lippa only focuses on 4 out of the 15 characters. So, and I think his is more of a musical.
Yeah.
And the other one is more of a play with music.
Yeah, his style of writing as well in Lippa, Lippa's version. Lippa's version, the plot is tightly focused on the central love triangle of the poem, and the cast is much smaller.
Yeah.
Many of the characters in La Chussa's version don't even appear in Lippa's version. The major differences are the music, obviously. Lippa's songs are not wholly dependent on the plot.
Yeah.
And can be understood arguably better than La Chussa's.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. He used context. All 15. He mainly focused, the main line that drew him was her face was a tinted mask of snow, which is also in Lippa's, but that is what really drove La Chussa's sort of version. Yeah. Critics hated it too, so it wasn't that critics preferred one over the other. So, but it did get 7 Tony nominations. It was going to close, but because of the Tony nominations, and then they were performing, obviously, because but it closed a week later.
Right. Okay.
So they didn't win any.
Yeah.
And I think the Wild Party, the poem, it's set in the 1920s, like that roaring 20s. I think if it was done now, I know that it was done in the Fringe in 2004.
Right, okay.
I think if somebody was to do it now, it might work.
Yeah, I am
that
dying.
That, understanding Queenie, people might be able to... I thought that was a very good comparison for, again, somebody who's never seen it but has watched like snippets and listened to the soundtrack. I think that cabaret style is a good comparison. So I think people would get it now and maybe be more patient towards it.
Yeah, I mean, also like La Chussa's mimic jazz of the era. Like the music was very jazzy, whereas Lippa's was like pop rock, like a pop rock sound.
Yeah.
The Wild Party tells the story of a vaudeville dancer called Queenie, you've just mentioned her there, and a vaudeville clown named Burrs, her passionate and violent lover.
Yeah.
And Queenie and Burr set out to make each other jealous by having like a party, like you know, having a wild party, inviting loads of different people, but Queenie begins to fall in love with her conquest, Mr. Black. And after a long night of decadence, Burrs' jealousy erupts and comes to a violent end.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. So Lippa's is more of, this is what people said, Lippa's is just a love story and Letitia's was just too complex. So, because, Queenie and Burrs, Queenie's looking for somebody to kind of like satisfy her sexually, and she meets Burrs, but he has demons, and then they decide that they want to get that passion back, and they decide a party is going to be the best way to do it, but that's throwing people into their house and into their lives.
But she also wanted to do it to make him jealous. From the onset, she was like, I'm going to do something to make him jealous.
Yeah, she wants that passion back. She feels like he's no longer like...
Yeah.
You know, I think that's how their relationship has been. That jealousy has fired their relationship. And then whenever he flirts with, like, I think it's an underage girl. Like, I think she's somebody that is not of age or something.
Isn't that Kate that Idina Menzel plays?
Yes. And so then that causes controversy with the rest of the guests, where I think that's where Letitia's version, you can kind of see that more.
Yeah.
And then, obviously, as you said, falls in love with Mr. Black, and then becomes that violent end where...
Who's it gonna be? Who's it gonna be? Who's it gonna be? I said I'd die for you.
And then, death happens and Queenie is left contemplating everything. Was she?
It's brilliant. Honest to goodness, it's absolutely brilliant. Well, we talk about our musical lyrical lingo then.
Go for it.
So in the first number, Queenie was a blonde and her hair stood still.
And I think we had the same one.
And she danced twice a day in vaudeville.
Timothy loves this musical.
I could honestly sing it word for word until I have to say this word and I can't say it properly.
I can't say it either.
So they say Queenie was sexually ambitious, capricious, capricious. Did I say it right?
You did.
And capricious means to be fickle, basically, given a sudden or unaccountable change in mood or behaviour. So
liable to sudden unpredictable changes in attitude or behaviour.
Yeah. They also sing about, now we're knocking on wood.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Informal idiom that people use to avoid bad luck or to express gratitude for good future.
Yeah.
Knocking on wood, knock knock. Knock on wood. I was interested in how that came about, that idiom. Where did it come from? Now there are pagan origins in Europe,
right,
where people would appeal to tree spirits to ward off bad luck, and they would have knocked on the trees. Knocking on wood.
Boom, boom.
Ba, 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 ba. Will give me more men. Queenie's class.
Yeah, she's a great character.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant.
One of my musical lyrical lingos was obviously learning about the poet and the poem.
Of course.
And
who would have thought there was more than just Andrew Lippa that would use a poem or poetry as his source material? Yeah.
There you go.
Did you have any in Queenie was a blonde?
No, that was it. I had capricious. I had that too.
Then
I did. There wasn't a huge amount I found in this musical.
No, I agree.
But I feel like if you watch it, it could definitely tell you more of like character interactions or human interactions.
Yeah.
You get that a little bit from the soundtrack, but I think maybe seeing that on stage.
Yeah. I am dying to see a professional production of it.
Somebody do it quickly.
Please do it.
I did.
This is good because normally when we say something on the podcast, it happens. Yeah.
I had something for Out of the Blues.
Out of the blue, out of the blue.
Why don't you just do a one-man version of it?
Something lightning will hit me.
Yeah. Well, I had Out of the Blue, Out of the Blue. Out of the Blue. I was like, what? Where did that come from? That's what I wanted to know.
Oh my goodness, this is freaking me out.
Right. So I was like, where did that? So it came from the expression bolt out of the blue.
Yes.
And then blue alluding to the sky.
Yes.
So just that something could have fallen out of the sky. Because isn't that like a huge thing? Like
without warning.
Like back, like in olden days, they were terrified of things falling out of the sky.
Yeah.
So that's where it is, like, out of the blue, out of the sky. It was more like a fear thing.
Yeah.
So I just was really like intrigued about where that came from.
There you go. This is weird because I had exactly the same thing. I think because I got onto the idiom of now we're knocking on wood, and then the next one was out of the blue, and I was like, that's an idiom too.
Yeah.
Where did that come from?
Where did they come from?
Yeah. We are so in tune with each other. It's not even funny. In the song "What a Party," they're going through. Basically, they're introducing everybody that's been invited to the party. So they're like Madeline,
the lesbian,
Eddie, pugilist.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what a pugilist was.
No.
And I was really surprised with the answer. Like, pugilist doesn't sound like what a pugilist is.
No, pugilist sounds like purge,
or like fighting with swords. I don't know why I thought of that.
I didn't forget that, but yeah.
But yes, yours is a much more intelligent suggestion. But a pugilist is actually a sport or practice of fighting with fists. So basically, a boxer is a pugilist.
Okay,
isn't that right?
Yeah.
Okay, just checking. Like you're kind of going, yeah. Are you sure about that?
No.
Yeah. Pugilist. Who knew?
No,
but it doesn't fit. Like you're kind of going, a pugilist is a boxer, is it?
Yeah.
Really?
But maybe was it like
pugilia?
Maybe was it a better way of saying boxer? Because maybe in the 20s was that not like? I don't know about boxing much.
And nor me, to be fair. As long as nobody punches my pretty face.
You're okay.
Yeah. I actually don't have any other musical lyrical lingos. However, when I first listened to the soundtrack, the one thing like way back when I first listened to the soundtrack, one of the numbers that really like took me was the Juggernaut.
Yeah.
Let's all do the Juggernaut. 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 And I was like, the way it kind of sounds and the way it kind of seems to have been set, I was like, oh, they're doing a dance. They're doing the Juggernaut. And I was like, oh, there must be a dance called the Juggernaut. And I got quite excited because, like, as a choreographer, it's always interesting, if like another, dance style is mentioned, like you then go away and you research, like, for example, another one of Andrew Lippa's musicals in the Addams Family, they reference the bunny hop.
Yes. Yeah.
And it was an actual style of dance. Yeah. So I got dead excited when like hearing the Juggernaut. And I went and I spent hours and hours and hours and hours researching to find out what the Juggernaut was, what was the dance style. Could I find anything? No. I don't actually think there is a dance called the Juggernaut.
Oh, I just assumed it was a dance too, a bit like in Wizard of Oz, like the jitterbug.
Yeah, or like in The Music Man, ship-poopy, ship-poopy.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? Like an actual dance style.
Yeah.
But no. He tricked me.
Are you sure?
You Google away and you just let me know if you find anything.
Oh, it's a fictional character. That's how I know it. I was like, I definitely...
But that fictional character, the Juggernaut, has nothing to do with this musical.
No, but I was like, I know that word. I definitely know that word. No. Yes,
but
it's from X-Men.
But there's no dance style, is there?
No.
Like, type in the Juggernaut dance style and you're not going to find anything. I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt.
Well, I mean, there's quite a lot of YouTube videos of people dancing.
No, you're lying.
I'm not.
But are they not like dancing to the song?
Juggernaut dance.
Are you kidding me? I sat for 4 hours one night.
Well, the Juggernaut comes from the English loanword juggernaut in the sense of a huge wagon bearing an image of the Hindu god. Is from the 17th century, inspired by the Jagannatha temple in Puri, Odisha.
Because dead on, this has got to do with this musical and this song. An
annual procession of chariots carrying images.
Talk about crowbarring something into a podcast. That's got nothing to do with the Juggernaut that's been referenced here.
No.
Let's all do the Juggernaut. I mean, it sounds amazing. Like, I wanted to learn the Juggernaut.
The Juggernaut from the Wild Party.
See?
So somebody is teaching
Correct.
somebody the dance.
Yeah, so it's not an actual dance.
Yeah.
They've taken the Juggernaut song from the musical and they've done a dance to it.
Okay.
We can all do that, sweetie.
I just thought you didn't know how to use the internet there.
No.
I didn't know how to.
Ha.
I am going to look up that. No, yeah, it just keeps showing.
Just keeps going. 4 hours,
people.
Lauren, 4 hours.
Oh, no. It is
Here we go.
like...
No, let's move on quickly.
Okay, we'll move on.
Because I mean, I have spent 4 hours doing this already. You're not going to prove me wrong. I know. It's not going to happen. So do you have any others?
No, I don't. But I have questions for you.
Okay,
So I want to know, when and how were you introduced to the Wild Party?
So I am a wild one. See what I did there? I love my musical theatre, but I also am not the type who will listen to the same show or the same cast recording over and over and over again. I have always loved exploring different musicals that I've never seen or I've ever heard of before.
Yeah, you've been very good at that.
Which is why I get so excited, when there is a new Broadway season and there's loads of brand new musicals. Like this year particularly has been quite impressive with a number of new writing. So I'm always going, I'm not going to listen to Oklahoma for the 732nd time. Well, I would, absolutely. But I like listening to new or finding new cast recordings. Your sister's actually quite good at it too, because she sent me a few that I hadn't picked up on, and I'm like, oh, this is good. It just interests me. And if it's really pants, then I'll put it in the drawer and never look at it ever again. That's how I came across the Wild Party. I had no idea what I was listening to.
Okay.
And immediately I just went, this is class. Really class. I think I like it because it's so character driven that actually you don't need to see it on stage, but you understand 100% what's happening. Yeah, and because I think
the writing is so good.
Do you know what I mean? So that was a plus. So it is probably good to 10 years since I first discovered it. Wouldn't that be right?
About
longer. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we were in school. No,
I'm
100% know we were in school.
I know. Do you know what? I know exactly when in my life it happened, but I can't put a year on it because my mum was actually in hospital.
Okay.
Do you remember that time Mum had the blood clots on her lungs, and she was in the Mater Hospital in Belfast, and I remember driving up to the Mater Hospital listening to it and driving home listening to it.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? And there was a week that went by that was the only thing I listened to.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? So I remember, but I don't know what year that was. But it's funny how you remember certain soundtracks linking to certain times of your life.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's how I came across it, and I just really liked the songs, liked the music, and liked the fact that I was able to follow the storyline without having ever seen the show or knowing anything about it.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was based on the poem until I researched for this podcast. Do you know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
So there you go. Any other questions?
No, because
I feel like I'm one of the guests, getting asked questions. Ask me another question.
You must have been really interested in it when we were about 15, 16 as well, which would make sense because it came out 99, 2000.
Yeah.
So that would probably by the time it filtered over to Northern Ireland.
Yeah.
But also, I remember singing the song. Maybe I like it this way.
Okay, yeah.
With your dad, who was my singing teacher.
Interesting.
So I'm wondering, did you pick it up? Did your dad or did you like it? Did you let your dad know it? And then did he pick up the sheet music at one of your amazing holidays or something?
Yeah, maybe.
So that's why I didn't know. Was it your dad that introduced you to it, or?
No, I will have 100% introduced Dad to it.
Yeah. Also, there was a connection. Do you remember?
I am the musical theatre buff in our family. It's not Dad.
Do you remember whenever you were giving me the list of different musicals to listen to, and one of them was Jelly's Last Jam or something?
Yeah, I love
There's a connection to Wild Party with him.
See, it must be that sound I like.
Yeah. So I think it might actually be Letitia's or something, but maybe it's not. But there's definitely a connection to
Jelly's Last Jam. Did you ever listen to it properly?
No. Oh, well, I listened to it to then be like, I'm not listening to that one. I'm listening
See,
to
that's what I mean. Like
musicals.
picking up musicals like that, just because I go off on a listening binge. Like I'm going, okay, I don't want to listen to something I've heard before. I want to hear something new.
Yeah.
And then most of it's pants, like it's rubbish, and you're like, well, that was an hour I've wasted.
I know,
but every so often you get like wee gems, like you and
Millennials. I love that. Love it.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like that was through a random, you know, going into the ether and seeing what new musicals are out here that I haven't heard before. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
So, is it an album that, because I know that you don't listen to things repetitively unless you're doing it for a production or something like that. But would The Wild Party be one of those ones that you would come back to more often?
It's probably one of my favourite musical theatre cast recordings. I think you name checked them earlier. I think did you leave out Queenie though?
Yeah.
Did you say so? Name. Julia Murney.
Yeah.
Plays Queenie. She's been in Wicked. Like she was one of the witches. She is unbelievable. Like her voice is unbelievable in this. Yeah. Brian Darcy James.
He's great.
He is brilliant. As you said, Taye Diggs and Idina Menzel. Like this
is after Rent, isn't it?
But before Wicked, right?
Yeah, after Rent. But so because they were married.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Rent.
Yeah.
They were obviously the
But
original
Idina
cast.
did this before she then went on to Wicked, didn't she? And like it's just so class. Like, and her number's brilliant. Yeah.
There's loads and loads of videos on YouTube.
Yeah.
Loads. So you can go and see.
Oh no, I've been down that YouTube binge as well. Like there's one where Burrs is in a bathtub and it's getting wheeled around the stage and stuff. Like
it is wild.
Yeah. Wild Party.
Wild.
We are having a wild party. I love it. I absolutely love it. And it like, I think the songs are so varied.
True.
And then you come to that last, that three-parter between, Mr. Black, Burrs and Queenie. And it is like, I was on the edge of my seat. I nearly had to pull the car over the first time I heard it because it was like, who's it gonna be? Who's it gonna be? Who's it gonna be?
Yeah.
You said you'd die for me, Heather. Yeah, honestly, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
I love it. It excites me.
Yes.
And it excited the creative side of me because there's every so often you'll get like a wee musical or you'll listen to something and go, I'd bloody love to be involved in that in some creative way. Like I can totally see it in like a cabaret supper club kind of setting.
Oh yeah,
like I would set it like that. People would be at tables, like having nibbles and drinks at a party. Do you know what I mean? Like it would just happen all around them. It would be I think it would be amazing.
Immersive theatre would work well for that.
It would be amazing, wouldn't it? Like my version would be class.
Of course it would be. Of course.
And there's very few shows I feel like that. Like I'm like, I would love to give that a go.
But why have you not done it?
Because I do not have the money.
Just like out your back garden.
If there's any really rich producers out there that fancy firing money in my direction, I'll do it.
Pretty sure you could like do it in the walled garden in Bangor.
There are two. I'm not so sure. Can we get like a kind of party atmosphere in the walled garden in Bangor? I don't know if outdoors would work. It needs to be a dark, dingy, very nicely lit kind of environment.
No. Okay. Okay. Well,
somewhere that has like a lovely big staircase into the venue. Because as they're coming in, can you imagine? Oh my goodness. Listen, the ideas are endlessly in my head.
Somebody please do this.
I know, literally.
Did you do it at my house?
There's very few shows I feel like that. Like, I want to do the Wild Party.
Yeah.
And I want to do a production of Mac and Mabel. I don't know what it is. Those are the two that I'm like, I want to do them.
And Prom.
I'm over Prom now.
Oh, are you?
I think I'm over Prom. At the time, I was like, I'm too old to choreograph a show like Prom.
Okay.
I'd have a cardiac arrest.
But you're sticking with Mac and Mabel and
Wild Party. Because I could do those, I think, without killing myself.
No, but they've been around for like in your head
It's
for a
like
long
this.
time.
It's like shows like Grease that I've choreographed, and I'm like, I was able to choreograph them then. If you asked me to do it now, you'd need an oxygen tank and at least a defibrillator or something. Do you know what I mean? So I think the prom is probably a wee bit animal rich.
Okay, you're done with that.
Yeah,
with that.
Although it's brilliant.
Yeah. Okay.
A director prom.
I mean, I'm just throwing it out there. I don't know if you heard me. Could you do the wild party in my house? I went to a couple of like plays in London.
Holy moly, that's a brilliant idea.
Each room was like a different scene.
Yeah.
And it was like in this one in particular was in this I can't say the word, where they hang all the meat.
Yeah, but like
there.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
And it was amazing.
Abattoir?
Yes,
abattoir.
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 And then I know, have you ever watched The Girls?
No.
No, well, there's like a version of like some play that they're doing, and it's like they've got to go round different rooms and whatever. You could do the wild party in somebody's house.
Yeah.
Like an old house.
That's a brilliant idea, actually. I never thought of that. I also did a production like that on one of the summer projects I did, like in Dale, Kent. And it was in Dale Castle.
Oh,
and
amazing.
The audience walked around the castle, and it happened in different parts.
And that's how I seen a production of Macbeth, was in Crumlin Road.
That's class. Yeah, I love all that, you see. Yeah. I think that's why I really enjoyed that, the recent production of Guys and Dolls, because it was like although you didn't walk around, things happened around you.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? It kind of flipped it a wee bit. The audience didn't have to move; everything moved around the audience. But
I mean, I feel like you could do it. You definitely have the talent and the drive there. So
stop it.
It's just the capital that we're missing. So
capital, rich people.
Subscribe to the podcast.
Come to me. But you are right. Like when it comes creatively, I have so much more of a buzz for the likes of that. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. No, I love it. It's so out there. It's so strange. It makes me smile because it reminds me of you.
Oh.
And I know how much you love it.
What you said on our last episode, like really took me, like, you know me so well. Like when you were saying like a picture of me in the middle, like, and me surrounded by playbills, like very few people would know that the wild party would be up there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you knew that? That was really cool.
Yeah, we've known each other a long time.
Lauren, we're so close.
But yeah, and I think it's one that's always stood out. And I've always loved that you will always listen to like new musicals coming out, and you always give everything a go. You always let something, you play it, and then you go, okay. It
not
was
for
what
me,
it was,
and it's not because it's rubbish. It's just not for me.
Yeah.
Like,
but
So, and you like it as a cast recording,
like
don't you?
Yeah, I do like it.
The songs are so brilliant. Like that, poor child. Like they're all so different and beautiful. And I think the cast definitely helps. Like Julia Murney is amazing. Brian is amazing. Taye Diggs has that like velvety like voice that you need for that smoozy like romantic lead that's come in and like flipped everything on its head. Idina, like, it's so lovely. Like you hear a totally different side to Idina Menzel. Like she's like childlike and like she's a wee tinker. Like she's a wee cow, like.
Yeah, oh yeah. And then that song, I Like It This Way, is Queenie Reflect. It's like, is it the end of Act 1 or towards the end of Act 1?
Is it not the end of the show? Maybe I like it this way.
The last song is, what is the last song? Is it the very last song?
No, the last song is How Did We Come to This?
Yes, How Did We Come to This? No, I think it's the end of Act 1.
Yeah, it is the end of Act 1. Yeah. Maybe
I Like It This Way. And she is saying, because Burrs and her have a very violent relationship, she's saying, well, maybe I just like the way he treats me, and maybe this is, I'm okay.
She's grown so accustomed to being treated in that way, that it's just the normal now for her.
And then she's questioning, maybe it's me that likes it.
Yeah.
Maybe I seek it.
Yeah.
Maybe he does it to me because I like it rather than he does it to me because he's a bad person, you know. It's
absolutely.
a really thought-provoking song.
But that's it. There's legs to all of these numbers. Like they're the character. That's why I probably like it too. It's so character driven. But I think I said that, didn't I? You can follow the plot.
The Burrs is a vaudeville clown, which I think is really important to know whenever you listen to his songs.
Yes, that's
because
fair.
obviously he's painting on a face.
Yes.
For his job.
Yeah.
And he's. And I think we can kind of get that from how he got Queenie. Is he obviously was pretending to be one person and then turns out to be not the nicest, and then he obviously reverts back to that whenever he's trying to seduce Kate.
Yeah.
So he's not somebody that when you meet him, you'll not get the real person.
Yeah.
So those songs are very like dark almost. Like,
absolutely.
yeah.
No, there's such darkness to it. And it sounds like, as we've been talking, it sounds like almost like a four-hander, but it's so not. Like, with the darkness, you know, those meaty songs. Let's call them meaty rather than dark. Like, you know, dramatically meaty songs. There is absolutely brilliant ensemble numbers, which is, I also think, as a choreographer, it's what drew me to it. You know, the likes of Raise the Roof and We're Having a Wild Party and Let Me Drown, that, you know, Burrs sings, Let me drown this evening, let me drown, let me drown. Yeah. It's, honest to God, I could talk about it all night.
Yeah. No, it's great. Please go and listen to it.
It's fantastic, guys. You'll love it.
Listen to it and understand that it's probably not going to be something that you've similar. Like, you're not going to recognize it. You're not going to go, oh, that's quite like such and such, or that's quite like such. Like, you're not. Just listen to it. Hopefully, like, read the synopsis again so you kind of understand the characters. Obviously, it's different to Tumultuous. There's only the 4.
Well, I then did 15. Go one. I remember when I went to listen to it and was like, I think I got through the second song and I was like, I actually can't listen.
No,
to
I
this.
do like, what do you call her?
Eartha Kitt.
But I just like her.
Like her voice.
I like her voice.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Mandy Patinkin is also like a huge Broadway star who has the most wonderful voice.
He does. And Toni Collette, that was the first Broadway thing that she did. So there's the Toni performances on YouTube.
Yeah.
She was coming off the back of like Muriel's Wedding and Sixth Sense and About a Boy and things like that. But I think Andrew Lippa's one definitely
it's just class.
Is the better
He
one.
is brilliant though. He is absolutely
like
when you look at his other musicals, like the music in The Addams Family is excellent. Like really standout numbers that you remember. And Big Fish also is like fantastic. The problem with Big Fish I have that I didn't have with The Wild Party is I'm listening to it and I'm still confused about the storyline. Is it a film?
I was going to say,
I haven't seen the film.
So it's one of my sister Caitlin's favourite films.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Well, she loves the musical as well, doesn't she? Yeah. But the songs in Big Fish are also
I've only listened to them a couple
brilliant.
of times, but I've liked them.
Yeah, and I think if I watch the film, I'll have a better understanding as to what's going on.
Yeah, it's pretty much a guy telling stories and his family don't believe him.
Okay.
About these stories.
Okay. And are they not true stories?
You have to watch it.
Okay, got you. Fair enough.
So,
but do you know what? In the meantime, go and listen to The Wild Party. And if you're really like rich and you want to throw some money at a really classy evening of theatre, send it my way.
Perfect.
Like, I'm not saying I could do it on my own, like single-handed. We need to get a wee team around us. Yeah. But I just think it'd be class.
I think we could do it. You could do it, and I'll just be your wee lackey. I'll be your associate.
Don't be that. The music's brilliant. Why do people not do this? Like,
I honestly don't think people know about it.
I also say to everyone who's like, what show should we do? I'm like, The Wild Party. It's really good. Like, Youth Project, The Wild Party. Like, class.
But I think it's because people just don't know about it. And I think as well, we've had this conversation before about critics. Sometimes they hold, not so much anymore, but they used to hold so much power that if a critic was like, no, we don't like it, it was shut in the week. So because critics didn't like both versions, maybe that was a downside, is the fact that two versions went out at the same time and neither were successful. While it seems with Great Gatsby and Gatsby, they're both actually doing okay. Yeah,
that completely passed me by. Is there a cast recording for both?
No, because I think actually Gatsby is just coming out.
Oh, okay.
I think it's like in previews at the minute.
Got you. Okay. So the one I've heard is
The Great Gatsby with Jeremy Jordan.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Do you know, I'm going to put it out there. Mm-hmm. I actually think The Wild Party is the cast recording I've listened to that has had the biggest impact on me.
Oh.
I'm just thinking, I'm kind of going, what other like shows have I listened to and been so
taken by?
Like I listened to that nonstop for about a month. Mm-hmm. And I don't tend to do that very often.
And especially with a new musical and a musical then that you have not then seen.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Like I'm trying to think what other like cast recording I remember having such an instant love for, and I can't think of another one.
That's amazing. Yeah. That's kind of cool. So please do us all a favour and go listen to it. And then let us know.
Do let me know. Think. And if you think I'm talking rubbish, like do send a wee message going, I'm not so sure, Tim, I think you're talking
as long as you understand
nonsense.
It's based on a 1920s poem. Yeah. And it's about, it's very much that, even though it's like his isn't super jazzy, but you need to think of the era that the source material was set in and then try and get your head around that.
But I think it's really self-explanatory. That's what I like about it. You listen to it and you hear, you know what's going on.
But everybody interprets things differently.
Well, then they're wrong.
Saying, okay. Well,
they are wrong.
They're different.
They will listen to it and they will like it. And they will go, yeah, Tim, you were right.
Okay, I think we should leave it there.
I'm joking, all right? I won't be offended if you don't like it. I'll just never talk to you again.
No, no, go listen to it. Do let us know. We love whenever you give us feedback. So,
yeah.
Timothy's going to go and perform a one-man version.
What is it? What's the first line of that? It's like something like, drop the...
I don't know it that well.
I'm so disappointed. I can't even sing Idina Menzel's number.
I'm not sure, but hopefully by the time the one man performance
happens, the roof.
Okay,
raise the thing. And then she goes really high, and I can't reach those notes.
Well, that's okay. Then get somebody else to play that part.
Yeah.
Right, somebody's here there. Well, the next couple of weeks we have some more episodes coming out, obviously, and another exciting.
That's what we do.
Yeah, and another exciting episode. And I feel like we're gearing up for like
a week off, or 4 weeks off, 10 weeks off.
No. They would never forgive us if we took that much time off.
I am just so tired.
I know. But yeah, I feel like season 2 has been very exciting with like what we've done and who we've interviewed, and
we did sit at the beginning of the year and talk about what we wanted to do,
and we put it out there, and it's happening. So it's great.
The gods can convert. I don't know what I'm trying to say.
Timothy's really tired now, and if anybody could see it, he's like lounging on the stage.
I'm like near horizontal.
So I think this is time for us to say goodbye.
Good night.
Go listen to The Wild Party.
Please.
And we will be in your ears again next week.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.